Hey, what's up? I got some more lore content for you guys. Alongside my recent 3 decks for beginners video, I also wanted to provide some more easy to craft decks for newer and intermediate players. I'll be covering each region one after another, that way you have a direction to go based on your favorite region. Hello, my name is Tempo and I've hit Master Tier every season since the beta, even peaking rank 1 multiple times on the North American ladder, and I will be your guide to Legends of Runeterra. And we're continuing our journey into Noxus. So small disclaimer before I get into the first one, these decks won't be able to be crafted day one. These are primarily meant as solid cores to go for after a few weeks of playing and understanding which regions or playstyles you enjoy the most. If you want the easiest and most budget decks to craft, I recommend checking out my 3 decks for beginners video from a few weeks ago. So if yesterday's theme was all about being in Demacia and building our board and winning through stats, then this video's theme is going to be about playing super aggressive and trying to win as quickly as possible. We're going to utilize direct damage and also very aggressive keywords to try to net wins very fast. This deck is also very easy to craft and super budget friendly, while also being a very strong meta contender. So this deck will be cheap and easy for you and also will push pretty far into the ranks. Starting us off, we have 2 Elixir of Iron, which is a very strong combat trick for Freljord. 1 mana, burst speed, give an ally 0/2. This is really nice for protection and also winning combat. Next, we have triple Legion Saboteur, 1 mana, 2/1, attack, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. Legion Saboteur is going to be a repeat offender in these lists as she is a very strong, aggressive Noxus 1-drop, getting in extra damage where she can. Next, we have triple Omen Hawk, 1 mana, 1/1. When I'm summoned, grant the top 2 allies in your deck +1/+1. I can block units with Elusive, so a little bit of stuff going on here. Omen Hawk will give you guaranteed +1/+1 value if it hits good units on the top of your deck. It's really powerful when you play Omen on 1, and then it buffs a 2-drop that you draw into, and then you continue pressuring that way, allowing you to create a snowball effect with very aggressively statted cards. Also, Omen Hawk being able to come down and block something like Teemo right on turn 1 is super valuable. Next, we have Ruthless Raider, 2 mana, 3/1, Overwhelm, and Tough. Overwhelm says, excess damage I deal to my blocker is dealt to the enemy Nexus as well, so it does piercing damage. We're going to be seeing Overwhelm a lot in this deck. Also, Tough makes it take 1 less damage from all sources, so it's really annoying. It can't just be shot for 1 and then it dies. No, it has to be dealt an instance of 2 damage or higher to kill it. Also, Ruthless Raider is very good if she gets hit by Omen Hawk buff. Next, we have 2 Sky Splitter, another very strong combat trick for Freljord. 2 mana burst speed spell, give an ally +1/+3, which is a really big HP boost, allowing you to get outside of so many damage spell ranges where you can just keep your unit nice and healthy, or allow it to win combat. You can get the +1 to trade up into things, or match opponents' combat tricks, and just be very comfortable with Sky Splitter in the pocket. Next, we have Tusk Speaker, which is another Overwhelm 2-drop, 3/2, play, deal 1 to all Nexuses, so a free little chip damage to the enemy face. It does hurt you as well, so be mindful. If you're ever in a game and you have 1 HP and you have Tusk Speaker in hand, you cannot play him, you will die. But hey, it'd be kind of funny if that happens, so yeah, just be mindful of that, but Tusk Speaker really good at pushing in some early game damage. Next, we have Yadulski, which is a new card just added to the game, and it is very broken. 2 mana, 2/3, attack. Grant the top 2 allies in your deck +1/+1, so the same effect as Omen Hawk. Now, riddle me this. What happens if you play Omen Hawk on defense 1, and then you top deck Yadulski hit by Omen on attack 2? Well, turns out you have a 2 mana 3/4, which is an insane stat line for a 2-drop that also buffs the next 2 cards on top of your deck as well, one of which will already have been hit by Omen, so Yadulski will double dip, and then the next thing you draw is a 2/2. So now, riddle me this again. If you draw Omen into Yadulski, and then also a 3-drop like Iron Ballista, and that's what gets hit by the Yadulski and Omen, you kind of just win the game. So, this deck has a lot of high roll potential depending on your opening hands. As long as you mulligan appropriately, try to play your Omen into Yadulski, you will have a lot of early and mid-game pressure. As you may have noticed, this deck really cares about +1/+1s because just a little bit of damage does go a long way for this deck. Next, we have triple Iron Ballista, 3 mana 4/3 with Overwhelm. Really simple card, just super aggressive to slam, especially on attack 3. Bonus points if it has been hit by Omen Hawk, but also is just a really good unit to protect with like Sky Splitter and stuff too. Next, we have Pirouette, which is a 3 mana slow speed spell. Deal 1 to anything and stun an enemy. So it's really nice. It's a little bit of a 2-for-1 deal. You get to target 2 things. Deal 1 to something. This can be a enemy unit that has 1 HP, or it can also be the enemy Nexus, dealing 1 quick damage to it while also being able to stun something else. Also, Plunder, I cost 2 less. Plunder, as an effect, says a card activates its Plunder ability when played if you damage the enemy Nexus this round. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of setup with this if you want to get the Plunder. For the most part, this deck is okay with playing Pirouette for 3 mana just to do a quick deal 1 plus stun, but there's a little bit of a combo here with Tusk Speaker. Remember, Tusk deals 1 to all Nexuses. That will proc the Plunder effect, allowing you to cast Pirouette for just 1 mana, which is really strong. So sometimes if you open Tusk and Pirouette, it's pretty good to play them on the same turn and use them as a little combo tool together. Next we have Whirling Death, 3 mana fast speed spell. A battling ally strikes a battling enemy. Now this is a really strong one-sided card. If you get this effect off, you're going to push a lot of damage, or you're going to kill one of your opponent's units that they want to try to block with and try to get ahead of you. So Whirling Death has a lot of good use cases. Something else that should be of note here, and it's a little byproduct of Overwhelm existing as it does. So when you take a unit out of combat, if they're blocking an Overwhelm unit, the Overwhelm unit will just push directly through them and deal direct damage to the enemy Nexus. So what do I mean by this? If you have Iron Ballista and it's attacking and the opponent blocks with like a 3 HP unit, you can Whirling Death, okay, and you can get the enemy unit out of combat and your Iron Ballista will just hit directly, as if the enemy unit was never there. So, really, really cool for that. We can use Whirling Death to push Overwhelm lethals, so keep that in mind as well. Next we have Gnar, our first champion, 4 mana 3/3 with quick attack, very nice. On strike, create a Pokestick in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 2. Pokestick is a 2 mana fast speed spell that says deal 1 to anything and draw 1. You can hit the enemy Nexus with this, which procs Plunder for Pirouette, or you can use this to finish off low HP enemies that have been damaged or kill 1 HP units in general, and you also get to draw 1 off of it, so very good for 2 mana. If he strikes twice, you get a free Pokestick, so you can cast it for free, and that's kind of cute. He levels up if round end you've damaged the enemy Nexus this round, and then he becomes Mega Gnar. On Mega Gnar transformation, he grants vulnerable to the strongest enemy, which is super nice, and you can pull it into combat as if your unit has Challenger. Mega Gnar also comes with Overwhelm, and levels down, which is pretty rare. Only a few champions have this effect. If I've seen you start the round with the attack token, transform back into Little Gnar, so he kind of swaps back and forth. Next we have a new card, Red Barbed Razor Mace, making an appearance in Overwhelm. 4 mana 4/4 with Overwhelm, of course. Nexus Strike, curse your opponent with Ichor. Ichor is a 3 mana spell that the opponent has to cast to stop this negative effect from happening. It says while I'm in your hand, round start, deal 1. So this really adds up. A couple little side notes about Razor Mace. Overwhelm does mean if the opponent blocks with, like, let's say a 3/3, Razor Mace will still hit the enemy Nexus for 1. So the piercing damage does count as a Nexus Strike. So the opponent has to pay attention to that. If this unit does any damage to the enemy Nexus at all, they will get Ichor. So the second thing I want to mention is Ichor stacks, which means you can put multiple in their hand, and it has to cost more to get rid of the more damage that it does. It scales in both cost and also damage, so really insane if you open multiple of these and attack with multiple. It's really, really annoying for the opponent to deal with, because they have to spend mana. They have to rip mana out of their hand in order to stop taking direct damage. Next we have Decisive Maneuver, 5 mana fast speed spell, stun an enemy and give all allies +2/+0 this round. So we're going to be using this in the same manner as Whirling Death. If we remove the enemy blocker by stunning it, our Overwhelm unit will push through directly. So this is really good for our open attacks. We're going to let the opponent block us and then we stun something while also giving our entire board a big +2 boost. Next we have Triple Sodian, another Overwhelm unit, surprise surprise. 5 mana 5/4. When I'm summoned, grant the top 3 units in your deck +1/+1, so it's got the Omen Hawk and Yadulski effect. If an ally has a different subtype than me, draw one of those units. So what this means is he's a reptile. As long as you have a non-reptile on the board, then he will get the draw. In this deck, that will include Omen Hawk because it's a bird. It has to have a tag. It's not like Saboteur or anything, see how it's tagless? It has to be a bird or Yadulski the dog. If those are on the board, then you also get a draw 1. Gnar also counts because he's a Yordle, so super good synergy, and also a reptile from Razor Mace, so there's a lot of targets for Sodian. As long as you're developing your board and you play him on pretty much anything, you will get the draw, so very good value there. And then we have Dedius, our other champion, 6 mana 6/6, love that stat line, very cool. Overwhelm. Level up, I see the enemy Nexus has half of its starting health or less. So if the opponent has 10 HP, Darius will level, gaining +4 attack and 1 HP. So he gets a lot bigger when he levels, and he's just a very big direct damage finisher. And next we have Battle Fury as a quick little one of cheese card. 8 mana burst speed spell, grant an ally +8/+4. So for the most part, what we're going to be doing with this is committing to an open attack in the late game, which means first action attack for the turn, let the opponents block, and then we just cast Battle Fury for a +8 somewhere, whether it's on an Overwhelm unit or if it's a unit that was just left unblocked. Really cool, just like a really cheesy, like one card win con in certain game states. And that wraps it up for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how the deck plays out. I'll be giving context to why I'm playing certain cards, and hopefully it gives you a good feel on how to play the deck. And for the example game, we're going to be fighting Teemo Nico. So it's going to be a bit of a swarm deck. We just want to get big and try to beat over them. So let's go ahead and mulligan away Battle Fury. We want to try to get to our early aggressive units as quickly as possible. We see a Dulski, which is really nice. He's going to be on attack 3. I think we probably mulligan away the Gnar and the Razor Mace just to optimize our chances of getting like Omen or getting our 2-drops that have Overwhelm. Legion Saboteur is also fantastic on turn 1, so we can go ahead and play her.
I have my orders.
I toss. Alright, so they're also playing a little bit defensively here. They got some removal in there, which is pretty typical for Bandle City. Yeah, I'm kind of down to just play out both of my 2-drops and then also have Elixir of Iron mana, so with Dulski, we'll play Ruthless Raider, I think, because that threatens their Dulski.
Fight or die.
So I'm down to do that. That way we can kill it off. Yep, pretty down. And then we'll play our Dulski. Oh, that was Nico! If you see that little like Pop Blossom effect, that means they were playing Nico disguised as a random 2-drop. So that was their Nico. We just killed the champion. I guess they weren't expecting us to block. Or they just wanted the Dulski effect because they have extra Nikos in hand. There is some merit to that, I suppose. And then we're on double Razor Mace, so we should just win through big Overwhelm dudes. What's really cool about this deck is it's not champion reliant at all. There's so many units that we can develop and play around to just win the game outright. Double Razor Mace is one of those angles for sure. Okay, they're on like a lot of stuff. They have double Omen and Dulski. Well, Nico Dulski, I should say. And Pi, which means their hand has been very solid so far. The next couple units they play are going to be like +3/+3, so a little hard to deal with, you know? A 5/5 Razor Mace. Yep, that's the one. I kind of want to do Gnar and Elixir of Iron him, actually. That way I get a free Pokey. I really don't mind that. I think that's kind of cool. It's either that or I play Razor Mace and then Elixir of Iron there, Razor Mace. I have to worry about Perilous Pastry too, though, don't I? Oh, man. That's kind of annoying either way, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay. I guess we play Razor Mace. And then we do Elixir of Iron trade. There we go. So we're both left at 1 HP on our dudes. And then they have to commit 2 mana to it. Oh, they have another Pi. I see. Double Pi. Pretty good hand by them. Okay. It'd be nice if they only draw like 2 more spells for the next couple turns and then they lose some of their buffs, essentially. Pirouette's cool. Very cool. I mean, I'm kind of down to play it. I feel like just Razor Mace or Gnar would be better here, though. Play Gnar because of Quick Attack. Quick Attack is super relevant on this turn. Nor and Froop, that's fine. We attack with both. And we're also going to get a Pokey Stick, which is super good. Bonk. Bonk. They should have chump blocked Omen Hawk and Gnar, I think. Ooh, we could also do Pirouette if we want, but I'm kind of down to use that next turn, maybe. Yeah. I don't want to lose stun value, so we're going to play Pirouette on a turn where they can attack us. Because if they just play something like Saurian here, we'll ping this and then stun Saurian. Yep, that's the one. Exactly the play I was thinking of. Thank you, opponent, for making that easy for me. Yeah, we just ping stun for sure. And then we can play a new Razor Mace. And probably commit to an open attack with Decisive Maneuver. See how much damage we can push, you know? Razor Mace. Yep. Wow, that's a pretty nice Tusk Speaker too. I'm kind of down to play that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Tusk Speaker, and then we can Decisive Maneuver the Saurian and give an additional +2 to something. Like, that's just such a big card. Wow. Weapon? Yo. Yeah, put a weapon on Saurian. Oh. I was hoping they'd fully invest in Saurian, but it is what it is. Alright, cool.
Hey, stop that.
Yeah, this is fantastic. We're just gonna decisive maneuver that 8-7 real quick. Another pie. Yo, they open triple pie toss. Are you good? Are you good, bro? Cause you dying right now. You better be on like, I don't know, mini morph or something. I don't really know. This is like, let's go. We just win. Big decisive maneuver finish. And that's what happens with Overwhelm. It just pops off one turn randomly. And the next deck I have for you is a refined version of Blades and Buccaneers, which is a tutorial deck that new players have access to. Just like Overwhelm, we're going to be playing very aggressive, however this deck wants to swarm and play through its direct damage a lot more than big Overwhelm dudes. So starting us off, we have Crackshot Corsair, which is a 1-mana 1/1. When allies attack, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. So that's really cool. We can kind of hold her back on the bench, and she'll be popping shots at the enemy Nexus over the course of the game. Next we have Jagged Butcher, 1-mana 2/2, however Plunder, grant me +1/+1, so if we do any damage before playing him, we can play him out as a 3/3 unit. Next we have Saboteur, again making a repeat appearance, 1-mana 2/1, attack, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. We really love her direct damage in this deck. Triple Precious Pet, this is another really good aggressive Noxus option, 1-mana 2/1, Fearsome, can only be blocked by enemies with 3 or more powers, so Precious Pet's really good at cheesing out some early damage right on attack turn 1, because only a few units can come down as a 3 attack unit, so yeah, Precious Pet, really good at that. Next we have Arena Battlecaster, which is one of the focal points of our deck. He's a 2-mana 2/2 that says, on attack, give other attacking allies +1 this round, so we want to swarm and play like 5 units on the board, play Arena Battlecaster and then attack with everything, allowing us to get really big, wide, and strong attacks in. And next we have Imperial Demolitionist. She is a 2-mana 2/2. On play, deal 1 to an ally to deal 2 damage to the enemy Nexus. So this is a pretty cool card to come up in the mid to late game. We don't actually want to play her early. What we want to do is draw into Demolitionist and use her to finish out the game. Next we have 2 Make It Rain. Fast speed spell, deal 1 to 3 different randomly targeted enemies or the enemy Nexus. So if the opponent has 2 1 HP units developed, Make It Rain will hit both of those and also the enemy Nexus. So you can get some really good swings that way. Next we have Triple Mirai Warden. This is a very good synergy card for Arena Battlecaster because she helps us go wide. She's a 2-mana 2/1. When I'm summoned, summon a random 1-cost follower. Random 1-costs are usually pretty good. On average, you're going to be happy with the result. There are some low rolls you can hit, there's some high rolls you can hit, but again, on average, pretty happy with whatever Mirai Warden hits. Next we have Iron Ballista, making a repeat appearance as well from the last deck, 3/4/3 Overwhelm. Just a really good aggressively statted unit. Misfortune. She is receiving another highlight alongside scouts from the Demacia video. What's cool about this is Misfortune plays an entirely different role in this deck than she does in scouts. In this deck, we don't care about leveling her up at all. Don't even look at the level up, it's like never gonna happen. We just use her as a premium turn 3 unit that also deals extra damage to the enemy Nexus and makes it hard for the opponent to block us because she's going to be chipping away at the opponent's blockers. Next we have Triple Noxian Fervor. This helps close out the game. We're going to be using this for the final damage pushes, especially as a response to removal in the mid and late game. And we have Razor Mace making a repeat appearance as well, 4-mana 4/4 Overwhelm. Next strike, curse your opponent with Ichor, just like in the last deck, going to be used in the same way. Very strong card. And that's something that I like about these videos. In the Demacia one, there was like a few cards that you can craft and put into all the decks, like Form Up, Single Combat. Even Petricite Broadwing can make an appearance everywhere. I think the Noxus ones have very similar cards, with the Saboteur, with the Iron Ballista for beginners, really nice. Red Barbed Razor Mace, also really, really good. So it's kind of cool to see. And next we have Eye of Nagakaboros, 5-mana focus speed spell, spawn 2 and draw 2. So it's just going to create a 2/2 tentacle for you and also draw you some cards. So it's really nice that a burn aggro deck has a way to refill its hand. That way you can try to fish for Noxian Fervors in the late game, also get an extra 2/2 body for open attacks, which has synergy with our Arena Battlecaster. So that's super cool. But yeah, basically we just want to draw into some more options to help close out games in case they're going just a little bit too long. And rounding us out, we have Darius for the same reason as the last deck. He's just a really good finisher. We're trying to get the opponent down to 10 HP ASAP, so Darius should be leveling on turn 6, unless we're just really far behind on damage, in which case, hey, maybe he will stay alive and catch back up and help us close out the game. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. Well, would you look at that. For the example game, we're going to be fighting Overwhelm, the deck that we just covered. So that's really interesting. What that deck has over us is ways to protect their units with Elixir of Iron, Sky Splitter, that kind of stuff. Makes it a little annoying for us to play. Alright, so we have Misfortune for attack 3. We have Mirai Warden on 2, Razor Mace 4. I'm actually kind of down to get rid of all of this. Keep Warden, by the way. So, we get rid of the Ballista because I want to play MF. We get rid of the Razor Mace because I want to see like a 1-drop here. Try to get like anything. Yeah, Butcher works. Demo for the mid game, also fine. So we'll play Butcher on 1. That beats Omen Hawk. Or they're running Pigeon. Oh yeah, Pigeon's an epic, so I took it out of the list. I replaced that with Precious Pet. Or Legion Saboteur, my bad. I replaced it with Sabo. Because, I don't know, I don't think Crimson Pigeon is worth the epic wildcard anymore, ever since he got nerfed. Ruthless Raider, yeah, that's a good combo. But we have Mirai Warden or Demo? Kinda like Warden.
Hello, new best friend.
Exalted Poro? Yeah, that's not coming up. That's alright. We'll go ahead and block the 3-1 on Bonk. She has tough, so we had to block with the 2 attack units. We took a little bit of overwhelm damage, but that's alright. So here we're going to play Misfortune.
No prey.
And then on defense 4, it looks like we can play Demo and Arena Battlecaster, and then open attack 5 with Eye of Nagakoboros. So that looks pretty nice, as long as we can swarm up. Hopefully they bait a pass here and don't do anything. Okay, Tusk. Speaker's kind of fine. Let's go ahead and just attack with the Destined Poro and the Butcher. We don't want to attack with Misfortune because she's going to die for free to the 3-2, and I kind of want to keep her alive one more turn to get her passive in. We can attack with the 1-1 because it would trade up into things. Yeah. So they're pretty fine just taking the damage. Alright. Sounds good to me. We're going to have a full attacking board on attack 5. So it looks like they're just going to commit to a race. They're going to try to race us, and I think we might win that race. We'll see, though. Open attack? Alright. I'm kind of down. I could block here, and this forces Sky Splitter or Elixir of Iron. Could also do this. Just take away the blockers. Try to threaten that. Yeah, I'm down for this. Show me the Sky Splitter or the Elixir. No? Alright, alright. We just got so far ahead here. So we're going to do Arena Battlecaster. And then, because they have Fervor, I don't want to target MF. I think it's probably best to do this.
For the Empire.
Then we're going to do Eye, open. Don't you Fervor me or anything weird, okay?
The few for the many.
Also, don't have another unit to play. Just have, like, top-end stuff. A Darius. You have a Yoldulski? Okay. I was hoping for, like, Darius, Battle Fury, that kind of stuff. To clog their hand. But, here's something we're going to do. Eye of Nagakoboros is cool because it's focus speed, which means we can use it, and then immediately take a next action, without the opponent being able to put up a block or anything. And our next action is going to be attack. Allows us to get an additional 3-2 body for our open attack, which is really clean. I really like doing that. And then we can close out with double Noxian Fervor and also make it rain. Nice. Let's see, are you blocking with Yadulski? You are. You are blocking with Yadulski. Is it time to see the Sky Splitter? They could also be on the stun card that we used to win last game. Stun would be kind of annoying because then they could block the Battlecaster too. Like stun MF probably. But we can play Darius on 6, open 7. Like we have so much stuff we can do as long as we don't die. I'm just a little bit worried. Oh, Whirling. Wait, what? That's not a good Whirling. Because my Misfortune gets to continue the trade. Puts them down to 5 either way. That really did not stop me, huh? Alright. I don't think they have Fervor. I feel like if they had Fervor, that's something they would have used already. So I kind of want to just send my double Fervor this turn. Especially if they tap out. Okay, if they play Darius or Gnar, I instantly just double cast Fervor and win the game, because there's nothing they can do about that. So let's see Darius. Just all in. It's time, bro. It's time. Send in the Darius. Okay, that works for me. Fervor. Fervor. Bonk. Bonk. Just a little bit of a direct damage lethal here. Hooray! Yeah, we win the race. We're just a little bit faster there. And the last deck I have for you is my favorite deck to play and also my main, JhinAnnie. In terms of budget, this is super beginner friendly actually. A lot of it's commons and rares, just like the previous decks. You will have to buy 2 epics for the Augmented Experimenter, but overall pretty cheap. Investing in the Jhin and also the Annie is what's going to cost you the most because that is 6 champions that you do not start with. There are no tutorial decks that give you these champions, so you will have to spend the 6 champion wildcards or a bunch of shards to do so. And that's again the budget side of things. However, the other side of it, which is the gameplay, kind of makes this deck lean more towards the intermediate side. It's not a super easy deck to pick up, and there are a lot of nuances and a lot of niche things that you have to keep track of and know when to use to fully utilize the deck. So there are stun timings, there's Lotus Trap timings, and things like that you need to plan in advance, which makes it a slightly more big brain deck. However, it's also one of those things that once you got it down, you pretty much have it. So if you want to graduate from Pirates, which are a lot easier to play, I definitely recommend giving JhinAnnie a try, as it's been stable in most metas since it came out. The first thing I want to talk about is what Jhin allows us to do. So much like the Elder Dragon from the Demacia video, Jhin allows us to break the region cap and play certain units from every region, which specifically are skill units. We want to be casting skills quite often. Also, Jhin does another thing where every 3 fast spells, slow spells, or skills you play while Jin's in your hand or on the board, he shoots the enemy Nexus for 1. If he's on the board, he will also stun the lowest attack enemy, so that's really nice. But we'll talk about his specifics once we get there. I just want to make sure you know that we're going to be playing a bunch of units from a bunch of different regions, so it will look weird. So starting us off, we have Annie, 1 mana 0/2 on attack. She deals 2 to her blocker. If it's dead or gone, she deals 2 to the enemy Nexus instead. So she has a pseudo quick attack type effect. It's like a 1 mana 2/2 quick attack, kind of. However, she's casting a skill, which is super relevant because we want to be casting skills over the course of the game to help level Jhin and also help him pop Lotus Traps if he's in our hand. She levels up if she's seen you play 6 fast speed spells, slow speed spells, or skills. And when she levels up, she gives you a free Tibbers. Tibbers is a 6/5/5 with Fearsome, which is really nice, and also has a skill on play that stuns an enemy and then deals 2 AoE damage to all stunned or already damaged enemies, allowing you to have a really big board clear in the mid game and kind of manipulate the enemy blockers so that way they don't have a Fearsome one to actually block your Tibbers, which is super cool too. In her level 2 form, her attack skill is a lot better actually. She deals 3 instead of 2, and then she also stuns it, so nothing can even block Annie. It will get stunned before it trades back, so that's super nice because she'll stay alive. Also, if the unit is dead or gone, she deals 3 to the enemy Nexus instead. Next we have Crackshot Corsair, making a return appearance from Pirates, 1 mana 1/1. The skill is what's super important for us. We want to be getting multiple Corsairs, multiple skills, that way Jhin is leveling, and we're dealing extra damage to the enemy Nexus. Saboteur, same reason, look at that, she made it to all 3 of our decks today. 1 mana 2/1, deal 1, of course. We love the skill, we love the direct damage. Precious Pet coming in again, 1 mana 2/1 with Fearsome. Very good. He doesn't have a skill, but he is pretty nice and aggressive, and can help make some of our early hands even more explosive. Double Demolitionist for the same reason as Pirates, want to use her as a finish. Also, this is a skill, so it has added synergy here. Next we're getting to the pretty cool stuff, Solari Sunhawk, which is a Targon card. 2 mana 2/3 Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. What's important about this is that the stun is a skill, so that has synergy with Jhin. And then we can do cool things like multi-stun on the same turn. If we have Jhin down, then we can play Sunhawk, that will pop a Lotus Trap. The Lotus Trap will stun another enemy, and then we get to basically make it to where the opponent can't block us, and we push really big boards into them. Continuing on with this theme, we have the Stagehand, pretty much the same thing, 2 mana 4/2 from Ionia. Ephemeral, so it dies round end, so we need to use this very aggressively, pretty much on our attack turns exclusively. Sometimes we have to block with it, and that feels kind of bad if we're doing it on defense, but yes, we want to combo this with other stuns, and then we have a really strong attacker. Play stun an enemy. This enemy is our choice, unlike Sunhawk. Sunhawk stuns the strongest, we do not get to choose, and we also have to play Sunhawk first in the round to get the effect. Stagehand is a lot more flexible, but the trade-off is that it's ephemeral, so that kind of sucks. Next we have Tusk-Speaker, which is a 2 mana 3/2 Overwhelm, play deal 1, just like in the Overwhelm deck, we love to see Tusk-Speaker, and the deal 1 is a skill, so again, added synergy on an aggressive unit. And we have Mana Soul Student here, 3 mana 3/2. Each round, the first time you play a fast spell, slow spell, or skill, I also play Magic Embers, which is another skill that deals 1 to the enemy Nexus. So he'll just be popping shots for you over the course of the early mid game, and that's really nice because that helps amp up the Jhin. Annie wants to see this as well, and it's just really cool. I love the skill synergy. Very, very cool card. Then we have Triple Noxian Fervor to help close out the game, just like in Pirates. Pirouette, same reason as in Overwhelm. We want to cast this for the stun and the deal 1. What's really nice is we're going to be dealing 1 to the enemy Nexus quite often with this deck. We have Tusk Speaker to do it, Mana Soul Student does it, Jhin Lotus Trap does it, so we're going to get the Plunder pretty often, and that feels really good because we can combo this with our other stuns, and again, just make it to where all of our opponent's units can't block us, which is very powerful. And then we have Jhin. We talked about his passive already, but his card himself, on attack call, he deals 2 to stunned enemies, which is super awesome. So he can pop Lotus Trap and then like stun some stuff. If we've done some stun combos with Sunhawk and also Stagehand, then we can just deal 2 to the entire enemy board, which is really strong to have in an aggro deck because it makes it to where it's really hard for the opponent to come back after we actually get this attack off. Jhin levels up if you've played 12 fast speed spells, slow spells, or skills over the course of the game, and then basically his attack call deals 4 instead of dealing 2, which is really, really good. He becomes like a finisher. He has Decimate built into his attack call. And what's really cool about that is no matter what happens to Jhin, his attack call will like still persist, even if he dies. As long as you get the attack call off and you start, then it doesn't matter what happens to him, you will always deal 4 to the enemy Nexus. So that's really cool. And also pop Lotus Traps along the way. Here's what the Lotus Trap looks like. Here's his attack skill in level 1 form, and here's his attack skill in level 2 form. It's his ulti, and I like that a lot. And we have a red Barbed Razor Mace making another appearance, a really strong card from Noxus. Go figure, 4/4/4. Ichor, it's dealing direct damage to the enemy and also ripping mana out of their hand, so of course we love that here. Next we have 2 Witness, 4 mana 3/3 Flow. I cost 2 less. Flow says you activate this if you've played 2 spells or skills in the last round. So this works with all of our skill synergy. If we're doing stuns, Lotus Traps, Tusk Speaker, Pirouette, all kinds of stuff, then basically we get to play a 2 mana 3/3 stun, which is really nice, and we get to target it. So it's basically like a better Stagehand. However, in order to get the cost decrease, we do have to manipulate our hand to play skills on a certain turn and then play Witness the following turn. And then rounding out the list, we have Augmented Experimenter, which is kind of doing the same role in this deck as Ivan the Gakaboros was doing for Pirates. We're just using it to refill our hand. On play says discard your hand, so you basically want to dump your hand and then play him after. And then you get to draw 3, which is really nice, while also dealing 3 to any enemy, even champions, so we can use this to snipe champions, refill our hand with 3 more cards, and also play a skill along the way. So honestly, just pretty good. But yeah, this is my favorite deck that has existed since it came out. This is my main deck. I have thousands of games on this deck across multiple accounts, so I am a bit of a JhinAnnie fiend. But yeah, that's it for the rundown. So here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. And for this game, we're going to be fighting Viego Mordekaiser, which is really strong if they get ahead. We're going to want to kill them like as soon as possible, which is already our win con, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, we want to do it before they get their big dudes out. So let's go ahead and keep 1 Jhin. We always want to keep Jhin. Keeping a 1-drop is super safe. I don't think we need 2 Jhins, and we definitely don't want Witness in our opening hand because it can be a little bit clunky. Ideally, we see more 1-drops, but we did mulligan into Fervor and Experimenter, so our hand actually got worse. Funnily enough, that happens sometimes. Hopefully we top deck like a 2-drop and just call it a day. Or Precious. I'm kind of down to play Precious Pet on 2. They could play like Fading Icon and that's it. Yeah, Ceaseless does not block our Precious Pet. And we also get the Crackshot Corsair skill since an ally attacked, so that feels nice. That's +1 for Jhin. Annie. Annie's cool here. I'm down to play her. And then we can play Jhin on attack 4. Okay. This is fine. We're just going to take the damage. We don't need to block. I'm definitely assuming they're going to do like Hate Spike or Quietus or something. Maybe even Death Grasp. But we can play Jhin. And then we can also Fervor and stop the target, whatever it is. Oh, Undying? Alright, we're good. So here's a little tidbit of information. In general, when you're doing an attack with like all your champions and stuff, you want to do Jhin on the left. And then Annie on the right. Just like a little tip. Unless Jhin is leveling, in which case sometimes you want to attack with him on the right. But this is really good for just like general attacks. The reason for this is because you want Jhin's attack call to be at the far right of the stack, so when it resolves backwards, you'll Lotus Trap in the middle of the stack and then end with his attack call. See, here you go. His attack call went up, and then Lotus Trap went up after. And when this resolves backwards, it will stun a unit, and then he will shoot the stun unit. Whereas if you attack out of order, you'll shoot nothing and then stun a unit. So this is just better ordering. Hammerborn Soldier. I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Take your place and our show will begin.
We probably should have attacked with the Crackshot Corsair as well, but it's no big deal. Bonk, bonk. It does put her at a little bit of risk. But the Undying couldn't block. We could have assumed that the Chemovorm was going to block Annie, but no big deal. We can replay Annie and play Razor Mace. Call it a day. Annie.
Both your parents.
That's fine. We're just going to take the damage. We don't really need to block here. No reason for us to. Play the Razor Mace. And then I think we just open attack again. We don't even play the Sunhawk. Because if we play Sunhawk, we give them a defensive action to play multiple blockers. Like another soldier and stuff. So we don't need to do that. I'm always fine just full committing. And this time we'll send the Crackshot Corsair up as well. So Jhin first. Annie on the right. We can also attack with the Crackshot Corsair at some point. Go. Very nice, very nice. And that's like something that's really cool about this deck is you're going to be putting stuff on the stack a lot, like a bunch of skills. So it looks like just a fireworks show. And it feels really cool. Sure. What you got? They could even do something big like Vengeance here. Right now they're living with 1. Okay, right now you're dying, so... Yeah, you gotta figure something out here. But yeah, we're always trying to kill, like, turns 5 onwards. Vengeance? Yeah, I mean, we can just Fervor Face. Yeah, that's a good Fervor timing. Go ahead. Puts them down to 2, and then we can try to win through demo.
I will give them a show to remember.
They're also getting an Ichor in their hand from Razor Mace. We're just kind of doomed for them. Love this card. But yeah, we definitely played on the front foot and played super aggressive this game. Yep, and then we just closed out with demo. And we get the Annie level on the way out, just for style points.
For the Empire. I want to play a game of hide and burn.
Funnily enough, we were really close to Jhin level 2.
Make the
And
Empire
boom.
proud.
And that's it for Noxus. Extra shout out to the patrons on screen. Much love and thank you for supporting. So for some closing thoughts, I think that Noxus decks are super easy to craft, and it's definitely the region to go for if you want to play aggressive. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a sub if you're new, and also a like for the algorithm, that way other new players can see this video. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one. Laters!